A lot of people are waiting for the economy to crash, waiting for Jesus to come back and the sky to crack open and thousands of angels to fly into the hall and start rescuing. But the fact of the matter is that you have to basically take care of business. You got to do a lot of things on your own. However, you're also connected with others. This is why networking is so important. This is why you can't just deal with only social media. You got to have some interaction. Now, for those who are familiar with the teachings of Malidoma Patrice Sommet, years ago he wrote a book called Ritual. He also wrote a book called Water and Spirit. And I think it was in Ritual, he was talking about how people are getting away from their emotional mind. The more that they get involved in technology, they're getting away from their emotional mind, right? And I keep on hearing people talk about the great mother returning and so forth. But here's the thing. A lot of people they're not doing anything natural. So how are you going to talk about the great mother, but you do nothing natural? Somebody take that phone away from the populace and they'll eat each other because they're so dependent on that device. Look at, I'm using it right now, right? True. But at the same time, do we know how to like live off the land? Eat bark, eat some dandelions. Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. I mentioned this before. People they talking about having this big old uprising and everything else. But are you prepared to do what you got to do if any type of catastrophe took place? Back in the 60s, you had all these brothers talking about they're going to go to war down there in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? This is around the time of the Watts Riot. And they crushed the revolution really fast. And all they did was cut off the food and cut off the water. Remember what I mentioned? Here's the thing. People are resources. Network. They got you disconnected. They got you caught up on algorithms. And these algorithms keep a lot of people in mental prison because it will repeat biases. Let's say you broke up with your girlfriend, you get on YouTube trying to figure out what happened. And you say, what's going on? Next thing you know, you run into something negative. And then you're hooked on. The women hear one thing, the men hear something else. It's negative coming from both sides. And the algorithm got you repeating that same thing over and over again. Then you go and tell your body, go and take your home, and then you repeat the same stuff over and over. Because one of the issues is that we're not thinking, you're still not thinking for yourself. You're still caught up in what you think is popular. See what I mean? Get that right. What's your cat's name? Usaka? Usaka. All right. You know, no time for to say that curiosity killed the cat. Nobody thought about that. The cat has no lives. Not itself. It was psychology. Man, brothers say 94. 9 months. Born. That's what life is all about. Having constant life cycle. Birth, death, rebirth. Constant. Now, what took place in the 60s, right? Then it went a little bit different in the 80s, went a little bit different in the 90s. Now you're dealing with this thing. Now, what y'all doing over there? Oh, just clown. Cat, at least the cat's chill.
Yeah, definitely put a shot of him to smell it out.
I'm gonna tell you though, when it comes to connecting with people, just connection alone is enough to have an organization. Organization. Not necessarily connection, but I'm talking about the reason why we are. at the word organ. An organ has to keep the body functioning. Then you got music. An organ is a musical instrument. When you get into certain forms of medicine, like for instance, Eastern medicine, Chinese medicine, you discover that your organs, each organ is connected to a musical note, and it's played in a certain way will affect that organ. Organization is harmony, okay? But when you have an organization, whether you name it or not, a group of people working together is an organization now. And so it's a family. A family is an organization. And when COINTELPRO went to infiltrate the organizations, what people have not thought about is the fact that not only did it infiltrate the UNIA, NOI, whatever, the Organization of African American Unity, all these other organizations. The main organization that they infiltrated, found a way to pick apart and destroy was the family. Understand what I'm saying? They got people away from understanding the importance of family. How you go build generational wealth? It's hard to. You have a family, and everybody's encouraged to destroy your family. And the minute somebody has a child, then you break up, and then the system say, "Well, hey, I got you. I got you. Don't worry about him." But they break up families. Listen, they break your family up. When families are broken up, it's hard to have strong communities. Strong families make strong communities. Understand what I'm saying? Dig what I'm saying? Sure. Okay, back in the day, you also had an extended family. And then you had a neighborhood that acted sort of as your extended family. So if you did something crazy, right? Your mom knew your neighbor next door who knew the neighbor down the street. They see you carrying on, they'll give a call to your mom. They'll chastise you. They may say something to you, right? You get home, you probably got a butt whooping waiting for you. That's what they had. And that was community. That was community. Okay? But right now, they have literally destroyed the concept of community. And they also destroyed the concept of family. And this is why I say you got to be careful, because they have also, not only do they keep the ideas of the race, the vision of the race, and keep you angry by showing you stuff on the news all the time to piss you off, and to have you build a toxic environment in your community because you're pissed off, you're thinking everybody's an agent, because propaganda keeps on indicating that it is. Pretty soon it gets you away from your family. Pretty soon it even gets you away from your friends and tell you that you can do it all by yourself. Let me see you do it. Nobody. There's no way you're going to stand up against no mile that's all by yourself. It's interdependence. You see what I mean? But they didn't taught people to be independent. But we're interdependent. This is why you're functioning and living within an economic system. Why they got to tell you not to care, right? Bohemian Grove, there's got this ritual called the cremation of care. You got these elites that go down there, and there's a giant freaking owl where they basically put a mimic of a body, and it's going to the fire and it gets burnt up. That's the sacrifice of care. That's the cremation of care. Because what they're doing, the ritual is to remove care in society. Because if you don't care about anything, you're individualized and you're isolated. It's easy for you to control you. Okay? So they say they got men and women beefing right now. They're doing that. You ain't no sign of no time. They got men and women beefing right now. They know what they're doing. They tell the men, they keep on telling the women that you're a part of some patriarchy, and here you are just trying to make it. And they keep on telling the men that every woman wants to steal your money and take everything from you. They know what they're doing. You see what I mean? You're not supposed to be able to get along. They don't want you getting along with your woman. They don't want your woman getting along with you. They don't want you getting along with your man. You see what I mean? Because if you're going to build an empire, what do you do when you build an empire?
Unite.
Unite, but you also got to separate. Wow. You got to dumb people down to a certain way of thinking if you want everybody to be a soldier. You got to make them think at a 7th grade level, which they got a lot of people thinking on the 7th grade level, despite all this information. They don't process it because they think and they process on the 7th grade level. You understand? A lot of times you just basically hearing a bunch of information, no research or nothing to back it up, no dates, no original sources. Okay. Hey, right now, I see people there's starting to read Thought the Atlantic. Can you find the original source for Thought the Atlantic? Can you find any of those the Emerald tablets? Can you find any of the original tablets? No, you can't. Because Doriel made it up, that's why. But everybody is following what they're studying Zacharias, right? Now everybody wants to they talk about Anunnaki and everything else based on Zacharias Stitch's work. They done plagiarized this man left and right, right? But then, you want to go deeper and take the responsibility of studying, learn the Sumerian tongue, what they were really saying, because he's sensationalized. So what you want to do is, if you're going to research it, you got to learn that you got to look at the dates, you got to look at the times and why things happen, the high wire events and what's. You got to get that down, man. You can't just go and regurgitate some shit that you haven't heard that somebody said, somebody told you, and then become a slave to popular opinion. Everything that I'm telling you, I say go research. I want you to go research. Prove me wrong. At least you ain't on your own. You see what I'm saying? Ashe?
Ashe.
Okay. So when people get together and study and learn together and they think together, that's what it's not one. They don't want you to do that. That's why they keep you distracted with all the stuff that you see in social media. What's going on with this celebrity? What's going on with that celebrity? I'm not telling you don't go to concerts and nothing like that. Who am I to tell you? I'm just saying pay attention to the fact that whenever they keep the emphasis on one thing, they distract you from something else. That's how they do. Right? Now, this is going back in the 90s. I had people coming to my house for a meeting and everything else. And next thing you know, this is when it was popular to see astro bands. I literally would see an astro band pull up by me and I see them take a picture and pull off. Okay? Because I was doing way too much. I had people coming in about my place, my apartment, and everything else. We had uniforms and all that. We had uniforms. Okay? At the time, the name that I had probably was alarming to some folks. It was Jihad Amen. At the time, I was studying Islam.
That might be alarming.
It is what it is. See what I mean? It is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. This was back in what, 90, 94, 95. Then I watched people talk themselves out of the very organization they were trying to do. I remember watching the meeting literally dissolve because everybody, they were trying to take the batteries out of their phone. And then somebody said, we got to turn the TVs around. And then it got to the point that they were so paranoid about actually having a meeting that they literally talked themselves out of having a meeting. That's how paranoid a lot of folks is. Yeah, yeah. But you see, they don't have the capacity to really lock down billions of people. So what they do is they get you to police each other. Okay? So therefore, a lot of people are so paranoid, they don't trust nobody now. They don't care about shit. They don't trust themselves. They don't trust nobody else. Okay? So that's why it's hard to build anything. It's like I'm wasting my time. I might as well just go get the bag, listen and watch social media and then see that they can travel all over the world for cheap nowadays if they want to. So why would they be involved in trying to build something like a community? You understand? What is a community? Why is it important? Communities on YouTube and Facebook, right? Social media. How many times you check on your cousin? Let me ask you this. Who knows your great grandmother's name, your great grandfather's name, your great great grandmother's name, great great grandfather? Well, why don't you know it? Because you were told to forget. Forget everything. Don't worry about the future. Forget everything. Just focus on how to spend your money now. because they want you to think about keeping up with the Joneses because you're in a consumerist economy where you just shop. That's how they think keep the economy going forever by keeping everybody shopping. So you got this thing called happening, turn the phone on, and next thing you know, you see the countdown because they go download that shit to slow your phone down, tell you that it's time for you to get a new phone. Right? Yeah. Then there's their computers, right? You always got to put some more features on the computer. I mean, it doesn't really do anything that it wasn't doing back in the day. They just say you can store more information.
Yeah, so I can't use my laptop that I had 10 years ago because it doesn't.
Yeah. You see what I mean? It's like they had internet like way back in the day, right? Before it became popular. But now everybody can have the internet, but they play games with you because now they'll slow your internet down. Notice how the phones now, they don't have the same port, right? So back in the day, they had a different type of port. Like, so I need to use somebody's charger, and nobody has the charger that I need because the phone is different. And this is like an update from the version that had a different port. From the iPhone 14 is different than the iPhone 15. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, with the port. You see what I mean? So you got to get a brand new kind of port because you can't even use your homie's port to charge your phone up. You can't even use their power cord to charge your phone up. You see what I mean? So you got to basically pay attention because that's how they keep you spending money. They keep you spend. You see what I mean? They keep you worried about things that would be of minute importance, but because you adapted, depending on the very thing that they got you doing. The elites and everything else, they don't be going to school. They got mentorship. They groom who they want to be in certain areas. They educate them a different way. But you gotta sit your black ass in the desk for a good so many amount of hours. But they basically have recess. You going by that Skinner box of reward and punishment. They tell you when to get up, when you need to go to the bathroom, go out for lunch and everything else. You can't do things independently because they're teaching you two things. They're teaching you to do what they tell you to do and that you'll get rewarded for it. And they're also teaching you to wait until they tell you to keep it. Okay? And we have seen this as being normal. We believe that this is the way things are and the way things should be. And then they take the fun out of learning. Fourth grade, your child will okay? They've done it. But learning in a natural way. Children love to learn. It's just the way they educate them, or should I say, the way they indoctrinate them, train them. It bores them. Or it makes them, it unmotivates them, and they learn at different paces. And they have this block level education when it should be used as a spiral method, where you come back to the subject, go back, you take it a notch further, then come back to the subject as you're going to the other subjects. And then it's kind of like it's repetitive. You see what I mean? So it builds as it repeats. That's how the education system should be. But they have you read a whole freaking paragraph in about, they give you 5 minutes to process 2 pages of information and then tell you, oh, well, now it's time to discuss what we read. And your brain is only picking up like 2 or 3 sentences because if it's new information, your brain is going to only hold on to so much information at a time. See what I mean? Nobody learns like that. And then they want to act like your kids are dumb because they're not learning based on this weird, stupid education system that they got going. They messed the math all up. Child come home. Back in the day, it would have been easy to solve the math problems, but they didn't have all these weird steps that they didn't add. They got to show their work, right? I forgot the name of that type of math, but
Common Core.
Right, Common Core math, Common Core. So the kids don't know, or the children don't know how to talk to their parents about math because their parents are looking at it like, what's this? See what I mean? And so they created a generation gap. So what does this tell the children? This tells the children, oh, my parents can't help me, right? Mm-hmm. Listen, what they tell the woman, my man can protect me. But they tell the man, a woman don't love, a woman she love. She can only love the children, the dog, the cat. That's what they're telling you, that you have to know about yourself. Yourself. You need to go into the bag soon. But if you're a soldier, they dumb you down to be a part of this supposed empire that you're trying to build and fail and build.
Check.
What they have you do is they have you isolate yourself so you can become a soldier. Because you ain't got nothing to do. It's easy for you to join the military, which is why recently they just passed a law that your children are automatically signed up to join the military when they turn 18, 26. So they didn't ask your permission to do it, they just did it.
They made it. That's what we're about.
They didn't ask your permission to do it, they just did it. You see what I mean? So why would they have everybody against each other? They didn't individualize you and have you feeling, well, man, I might as well just join the army. I don't got you to lose. Then they put you in a uniform and say, now you done found your family. Okay? Gang. That's why I say, man, research Sun Tzu's Art of War, because basically what that teaches you is how to have won the battle before the battle has even begun. A lot of corporations study Sun Tzu's Art of War. In fact, business has always been identified with war. Hence, your three-piece suit evolving from British battle armor. Hence, a wardrobe. You listen to me?
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? It's the type of world that you live in. Because as far as they're concerned, business, market, sport, war. Hey, we create a financial burden on the people. We kind of like slowly raise the prices up on everything to the point that people can't stand it. Kind of like the frog cooking in the pot. You got the frog in the pot. You slowly turning on the heat. And you slowly heating it up. And before the frog knows it, the frog is cooking. That's what people. They got people blaming themselves. I mean, hell. Look at how Hollywood now is producing all these shitty ass movies. These movies are garbage.
True that.
A lot of these shows are garbage. Then they turn around and gaslight the viewer and say it's your fault that the show is garbage. You ain't watching the show. But the show is garbage. Why would we? You know what I mean? Stories are whack. Actors are garbage. I remember I watched The Thing back in the day. I don't think they can beat The Thing. They tried to come up with a prequel for The Thing. And I mean, it was all right. But it couldn't, for some reason, it just did not have the feel of the original Thing that came out, back in the 80s, 70s? Late 70s.
Godzilla original? Godzilla Zero. Godzilla Zero.
I ain't even about to watch that.
They called it Zero.
Godzilla Zero. It's not even a 1 or a 2, it's 0.
I'm not about to watch that.
That means they could get hardly any. They got 0 asses in a lot of the seats in these theaters. Godzilla 0. You see what I mean? So I mean, they have a lot of crappy ass movies these days, and the shit is just garbage. And then they blame you for not wanting to see it, and say that you're some kind of bigot because you don't want to watch their trashy ass movies, because they're not really. We're looking for action. You know, we want to see some action, but they got some political thing that some weird shit that you ain't gonna understand what the hell they're talking about. All you know is that the movie didn't make sense. So, and it's the same story told over and over again in different ways. So they try to pound it into your head. See what I mean? So they're using Hollywood. They're trying to put a spell on you, all up in the music and all up in the movie. Get you to think the way they want you to think, not think for yourself. And have you conform to box popular opinion. Now all of a sudden you can't really kick any fast because everybody got an opinion. You see what I mean? That's what they've been doing for quite some time. And they perfected it with social media and got you caught up on the algorithm. So a lot of people are prisoners of the thinking that the algorithm has given.
Sorry,
I put some of y'all to sleep up in.
Wow.
it's just late, that's all.
I put y'all to sleep up in.
No, sir.
No.
I mean, it's all good. But any questions? Any interjections? Sure, it's a building section.
I hear that same story told over and over. It seems like the same thing. Different paint coat of paint, different, wardrobe, and it's
I just got a comment about something you said like a few minutes ago. How did Zachariah sensationalize?
Go and study the old Sumerian text, right? And then study his works. You know what I mean? And just find some information about the 12 planets. He made the connection. He's the one that said the Ptah, Dinky, and all that stuff. Dr. Malachi York went behind him. He went behind Zachariah. A lot
I
of
said the Charles Inky.
yeah. I believe you said that Ptah was Inky and what? Bride, Marduk, or something like that. He made those connections. And everybody's been mimicking him.
Who?
Zachariah.
Who's Marduk?
I think he said Rock, Marduk.
No. Nah.
So, hey man,
Nah, I wasn't
different
feeling it
channel.
now. Yeah,
That's a whole different
he's wrong
channel.
on that one right there.
so. But it's an interesting way the way he broke down the story of Tiamat. Said that Tiamat was a planet. I mean, there is an asteroid belt between Jupiter and Mars. Talks about how Tiamat got destroyed by Marduk. You know what I mean? So how that planet ended up getting shattered and it created the asteroid belt. Talking about Tiamat's tail being pounded into a bracelet. So I mean,
I've got that.
so Nibiru passing through our solar system for 3,600 years, right? Now here's the thing. I say look and see if you can find that in the original Sumerian text and if you can interpret it that. Okay? They did deal with time. They did have a calendar. There is depictions of them, with depictions of planets around the sun and everything else in some of their old art, But I'm just asking, well, how did he come over that? Because a lot of people who are Sumeriologists are saying that a lot of the words that he translated are his interpretations and they're wrong. But then again, hey, what do I know? They could just be working for the elite trying to keep people down, right? I'm just saying, just go ahead and look and see for yourself. Don't just regurgitate, but go and do your own research. You know what I mean? A lot of this pseudoscience is coming about because we don't have laboratories. We just take people's words for something that sounds good. Okay? That's why it's important for us to study and learn how to study on our own. Learn math, learn science. There's nothing wrong with that. Science and math. Learn about how the universe works. Because if you can't understand the forces of nature, the basic forces and universal principles, then it can tell you anything. You'll believe it and say, oh, that sounds deep. Okay? A lot of times people say shit sounds deep and they don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't like it when people tell me that stuff. Because I feel like I'm not reaching.
Well, see, it's extra deep to them because they're
Church, everything else. All this symbol. Oh, don't look at that. That's nothing but paganism. But a lot of information around you is right there staring in your face. Symbolism and everything else. It will tell you not to process it. Tell you not to pay attention to it. Because you simply have. You got some thunder goblins on the mountains in there. Well, cloud pissed off at you. Thank you for this. Therefore, it's a sin. Why would God do something like that? God created a bunch of beings for social. And then turn around and put all the candy around them and told them not to eat it. What kind of a sick God is this? You know what I mean? So people got to start thinking because a lot of it don't make no sense. So he created humans that never knew any type of song, any type of wrong or right, and then put a tree in the middle and then let a snake crawl around that could talk and tell Eve to go ahead and eat the apple and give the apple. They never knew what a lie was before that. They never knew what a sin was before that. So why are they even judged? They're children. They're just children in adult bodies, according to what the story is implying. But they were children. They were innocent. Said that their eyes were open. So listen to this. Make it make sense. Their eyes were open after they ate the fruit. Their eyes were not open until they ate the fruit. So they didn't even know what the hell they were doing. So why would you judge them? Their eyes were closed. They were blind. They were children. So now God gets mad and curses Adam and Eve and kicks them out the garden for some shit that he did. And then the snake was telling the truth. The snake was like, oh, look, Eve, the reason why that God don't want you eating that apple is because once you eat of the forbidden fruit, you will be as gods, knowing both good and evil, right? And then after it was said and done, when God and whoever he was talking to kicked Adam and Eve, he said, kick them out the garden. He said, oh, now the man and woman has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. So let's go ahead and hide the tree of everlasting life. So they put a spinning sword that's spun in all directions, a flaming sword, right? Now, ask yourself, does this story make sense? Okay, check this out. So, in other words, by admittingly so, Adam and Eve is walking through the garden. They were cool, they were naked all that time. Then all of a sudden, after they eat the fruit, right, they can see. So God asked them, who told you you were naked? Obviously, they were not supposed to know they were naked. Am I making sense? They're not supposed to know they're naked because they were children. That means that they weren't thinking and they weren't able to really think on a certain level. So if they couldn't think on a certain level, they've never been lied to before. So you get a freaking snake crawling on its belly, lying to Eve, telling Eve, or telling the truth to Eve, and telling Eve to eat the snake, eat the apple. Oh, doing that, God. God knows that once you eat of the forbidden fruit, you will be as like God, knowing good and evil. They were children because they hadn't lived that. This was like shortly after Eve was taken out of Adam's rib. They were supposed to have been like implying they were grown, but they still had the minds of children. So they could not think enough of the process whether they were being lied to, tricked, or manipulated. So why are we feeling guilty of some shit that Adam and Eve supposed to have done?
True that.
You see what I mean? I just want people to think because this comes from this knowledge comes from earlier text. Okay, it comes from earlier text. So there's the Gnostic gospel. Early forms of Christianity was way more shamanic. Communication with angels was also part of the tradition as well. Understanding what went on in the heavens, the calendar and all that, which is why they got the 24 elders in here. I'm going to talk about the solar book, the earliest gift, solar book, the sun book. Why? Because it's connected to the ancient calendar. That's why in the book of Revelation, it talks about 24 elders, 24 elders and 4 living creatures. The 4 living creatures have the face of a man, the face of a lion, the face of a bull, the face of an eagle. You go a scarf, the lion, right? It's Leo. The man is Aquarius, and the bull is Taurus. And also your 4th fixed sign, which makes a cross. And the one that sits on the throne is called the Ancient One of Days. Ancient One of Days. That's explaining time. Because a lot of the Bible and a lot of these teachings have something to do with the calendar, astronomy, and astrotheology, which is why there's all these 12 dealing with the 12 houses of the zodiac. It's half history, half metaphor. A lot of it is metaphor, a lot of it is deeper mystery, because the Bible is priestly knowledge that they put together in Alexandria. The 72 rabbis got together and the Ptolemy put that stuff together. After they had been stealing, taking the knowledge out of the so-called, out of the information that's brought together in the library of Alexandria, stars of Orion, bear witness to the birth of the sun. See what I mean? So all this knowledge that's in that is being passed off as history, and God people fighting over land. That's why they call him the Lord, because the Lord says, and the gold of that land was good. What's the Lord talking about the gold of the land for? It said, and it talks about how the river Havilah, right, ran through Havilah, and it says, and the gold of that land is good. What's God talking about going? And if you notice, he's always talking about taking someone's land and giving it to him. So now you got these people over there, fake Jews, who are stealing somebody else's shit. And then they're going to go and say, oh, well, we're told that we can take this land.
Right.
But here's the thing. According to a lot of Jews today who are not Zionists, they'll say, nah, that's not accurate because it's the Messiah that's supposed to establish the kingdom. That's some politics created between the United States and Britain. And Urim and Truman. Does anybody know how old the state of Israel is?
76.
It became an official state in 1948. Shortly after they found an Nag Hammadi text. Okay? That's it. British dug out the Suez Canal, separated Africa from Asia. They dug that out. Two lands were connected. It shouldn't surprise people that they were African. Vice versa. Okay?
That's how you get errors.
Boom. That. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, folks. Sure.
Sure.
You know, what's crazy is before they decided on Palestine, they wouldn't go with Libya.